Hi there! In this video I'm going to teach you how to crochet with a latch hook and how can you teach it to your child. So all you need is your latch hook, some yarn, and if you want to wave the ends you need a needle which has a quite big, I don't know if it's gonna show you, a quite big hole in it. And you will need a pair of scissors as well to cut the thread. I do encourage you, when you practice, after one step you have to stop the video and keep practicing a little bit, and then you start the video again and do the next step. Then practice the next step a little bit, stop the video, and then when you practice that enough you have to start the video again. That way I don't need to record all the practicing time, which is actually depend on every person how much practice they need. So let's get going. So as a parent, you might find it easier if you start your work with a slip knot. So I'm going to share with you how to do a slip knot. The easiest method I found is working with your finger, but there are hundreds of methods of doing a slip knot. So what I'm doing is, I have my yarn like this, and I hold it with I pinch it with my finger, and then I wrap it around twice. Then I secure it with my other finger. Then I take the yarn which is in the back, pull it above the other one. Then I take that yarn and I pull it down my finger. That creates a loop where I can put my hook into, and then I just tie it, pull it tight, and then you have a slip knot. If you want to take a slip knot out, you just need to pull on the two ends of the yarn and it will come out. If you teach it to a child, you don't need to worry about the slip knot. All you have to do is you put the yarn on the hook, you hold it down, and then you take the yarn which is in the back, wrap it around the hook and keep it inside between this latch area. Then you pinch this part, let this go, pull it off and bring it back, and there is your first stitch, which is like a slip knot. To pull it tighter, you just need to pull on this long thread. Now first I'm going to show you the method, and then I show you how to teach it to your child. All you have to do is you hold this stitch with your finger, and then you take the long thread and you wrap it around the hook. Keep this thread between the latch and the end of the hook. Then you pinch this one in the end where is the stitch. You let it go and you pull it off the hook and back on. That's created one chain. And then you have to do the same. You yarn over, you pinch the stitch, let it go, pull it off and bring it back. So it's really easy. What you're getting here is these stitches here. It look like a little V. If yours look like a little V, then you're doing right. Now, you can teach it to your child very easily, but it takes a little practice. What you have to do is, this hand going to be the child first. So the child only needs to do this motion, this up and down, and up and down. And you as a parent, you're going to do all the other works. You're going to wrap around, you're going to tell the child to open up, then you pinch it, pull it off, and bring it back. And you tell her to hold it again. And then again, you wrap around, you pinch it, and you tell the child to let it go. You bring it off, you bring it back, and she holds it again. When you practice this enough with your child, then you're going to swap places. This is going to be the child's hand, and you're going to do this motion, and the child only going to yarn over. And then you as a parent, you're going to pinch it, pull it off, and pull it back. And then again, the child will yarn over, and then you're going to pinch it, pull it off, and pull it back. When you practice this enough, then you can tell the child to do all the work what the left hand will do. So you're only going to do the up and down motion, and the child will yarn over, and the child will pinch it and pull it off and pull it back. And again, the child will yarn over, the child will pinch it, and the child will pull it off and pull it back. When you practice this enough with your child, then you can hand the hook to the child and she can start it alone. So she will hold the yarn, the stitch in here, and she will yarn over, and she will pinch the stitch and pull it off and bring it back. Now, as you see, we created a bit of a chain in here already. Don't worry if it's sometimes twisting, it's cool. Okay, so all you have to do, you keep holding this stitch, and then you place the new yarn over your hook between the latch and the end of the hook. And then you do as normal. You're going to pinch the stitch, pull it off, and pull it back. And now you can see we continue with the blue yarn. You can wrap around again the long tail. Make sure you're wrapping the long tail. Then you pinch it, pull it off, and pull it back. Now what I usually do, I just snip this pink, and then where is this too short tail, I usually tie a knot on that. That way it's secure it for the child, so it's sure that it's not going to open. So you just tie a knot, and we're gonna come back later to show you how to wave these tails away. And then you can just keep going. You yarn over. If you're more advanced, you can do what I do, like you put the yarn between your pinky and you place your index finger under this and you hold it like that. But you don't have to. I just feel it more easier this way. So I just wrap around, I pinch it, and I pull it off and pull it back. If I hold the yarn like this, I don't need to let it go at all. So it makes me quicker and smoother work because it doesn't take time to pick up the yarn and take it away. But you can always do like simple way. You just toss the yarn around, pinch it and pull it back, and toss the yarn around and pinch it and pull it back. Very easy. We created a few chains as well. Once you practice the chain bracelet enough, you can create a bumpy bracelet. You will have these bumps on your bracelet with only a slip slip stitch, which is really easy to make. So all we need to do is we need to do 4 or 5 chains. It depends on how much you want. 2, 3, 4, let's do 5. And once we have the 5 chain, we're going to go into the second one. So you keep hold of this stitch, and we're not going, how can I show? We're not going to this stitch. This is the end stitch. If you go into that one, your work will be undone. So we're going to the next loop you find. You just put your hook into that loop. That way you have 2 loops on your hook now. You yarn over, keep this yarn over between the latch and the end of the hook. Then you pinch the stitch and you pull it all down and back. And you created one bump. Now we do again. We go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we're not going to the first one. You can easily tell which one is the first one. When you see your stitch, you have the thread coming through that one. So you're not going to go into that one. You're going to go to the second one. You put your hook through, and then you yarn over, you pinch the stitch and pull both of the loop down and back, and you have your second bump. So that way you can create a bumpy bracelet like this. Next thing we're going to learn is how to make this teardrop bracelet. So what you need to do, you need to start with a quite long chain. I will go for 15. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Then you want to see how big teardrop you want. So you can just wrap your yarn, make a circle like this, and see how big or small your teardrop gonna be. When you're happy with the size, you're going to put your hook through that stitch where you want it to be. So that gives me the 2 loop on my hook, and then I yarn over and pull that all the way through the both of the loop, and that gave me 1 circle or teardrop. So again, you're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. If you want them to be the equal size, you need to count the stitches, but you don't have to actually. So you just go again, find your loop where you want it to be, and then once you find it, you go into that stitch. So you're going to have 2 loops on your hook, and then you yarn over, and then you pull it all through like this. Now you might saw me having the yarn in the front, however this is a mirror. The yarn should face away from you. So what you're watching at is supposed to be like this. So your thread should always be in the back before you yarn over. So the next thing I'm going to show you is if you have a chain bracelet which is long enough for your hand, then first of all how to finish it. So you cut your tail and all you have to do is just pull that yarn out and pull it tight, and that's that. Your bracelet is done. Now we can create two-color bracelet, which I'm going to show you now. What you have to do, you go back into this bump in the end, the bump you just created, you put your hook through there, like so, and then you place your new yarn. Get the yarn. You place your new yarn over and you pull it through, all the way through, like this. And then you have to pull this new yarn as long as your previous yarn was. That way the end where you tie your bracelet is going to be the same length. Now we have to find the next chain. So if you can see, this is where we're coming out from and we're going into the next one. Put your hook into and pull it through. That's going to be your starting point. And now you're going to make chains. 1, 2, 3, 4, let's say 5. Then you don't have to count if you don't want it to. You just place the two yarn next to each other, and where the new color is matching the old color, you're just going to hook into it, put the hook through that stitch, and then join with a slip stitch, pull the new yarn all the way through the both of them. That created a two-color little circle here. And then again we do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can count if you want, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you yarn over and pull it all the way through. If you want to count, I'm going to show you now how to count. So can you see these V patterns in here? One of these V is going to be one stitch. So when we count, this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4, this is 5. So every V is going to be one stitch. And then you just continue all the way along the bracelet. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you pull it through, and maybe 2 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in here. Pull it through, and 2 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You pull it through, and the last one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can make it a little bit bigger if your chain is a little bit bigger, and then you hook it in the end, yarn over, pull it through, and then you have one stitch left in there, which is the slip knot. Actually, you go into that slip knot and do another slip knot there. That way you join the 2 thread fully, you can see, and then now you can just cut your thread and pull it out like you did before. So there it is. You have a 2-color bracelet. It can be used for friendship bracelet or anything. You just need to make sure your both of the yarns are the same length. There, and there it is. You can just tie it on your hand and you have your bracelet. So the last thing I'm going to show you is a rainbow headband, and to start it we have to start with the 2-color bracelet we just made. You need to make sure it's long enough to go around your head where you want it to, and you need to leave some tail ends that you're going to tie in the end. I didn't left long enough of the green, but you need to leave long enough to tie a knot. When you make this first 2 row, it's better to have a bigger loop in here. So what I did is I did 6 chain on the yellow, and I skipped only 4 chains on the green, and I went in the 5th one, and I went all the way through like that. So it might be a good idea to start with a chain which can be divided by 5. Now what we need to do, we're going to put our hook through this end again like we did before. There. And then we're going to pick up our next color. Oops. And then you have to pull that color through and make it as long as the other 2. And then again we're going to this next one. As you can see, my yarn coming out from this loop, and then I have a little green gap, and I have a have a hole in here. So I'm going to go through that hole and going to do a slip knot in there. That way I have my hook, have my loop on the hook. Now when we need to go, we have to move our work into the middle of this yellow. So we're going to bring our hook, how can I show you, wait, I'll show it this way. You have to put your hook under the yellow, close the latch on that yarn and bring it through in the front again, and then you have to pull it through that stitch you just made. Then we do a chain, and then we repeat this. We go under the yellow, pick up the loop, close the latch and bring it all the way through. Now we are about in the middle, and then we can start counting. So we do 6 chain, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and all we have to do is we find this next loop and we go under the yellow, pick up the loop, close the latch and bring it all the way through. So we created a slip knot over there. Then we do the next one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we find our next loop and we go under the yellow, pick up the blue, close the latch, bring it all the way through the stitch. And you have to do this all the way around in the headband. I have my last one, and then there's only one loop left. So again I'm going to do 6 chain. Again I'm going to get the yarn from under the loop. And then we need to walk the way to the end again. So we're going to have 1 chain and go under the yellow and make 1 chain there as well. And then 1 more chain, and we can loop it to the end. You find a hole in the end where the other yarn go, and you slip knot over there. And then what I usually do is just go into the very end where the slip knots are and just do a slip stitch there. Then you can cut the thread. You have to cut it as long as the other ones. Yarn over with all the threads and pull it through that loop there. So that's how it looks in the end. So you have your headband like this, and now you have to do is just move these stitches what you just made into the middle of the yellow all the way around. In the back you will see 2 loops, so that's 2 loops should be together like this. Once we did that, we grab another color. Let's do a purple. And again we're going to go through a loop in here. Anywhere you find a loop in the end, you thread it through, make a tail as long as the rest, and then we're going a little bit further away in the next stitch. You can see I'm right next to where I started, and make a slip stitch there. That way I have the loop on my hook. And the same thing we're going to do now. We start with 6 chain, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then we go under the blue and close the latch hook on the purple, bring it back and all the way back on my stitch. So we created this loop on the top of the blue, and again we go make 6 stitch, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we find the next blue, go under the blue, close the latch on the purple, bring it all the way back through the loop. And then we have our second one, and that's the way you have to go all the way through. Now I reach to the end. I make my last one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I find my last loop, I go into there, I bring the purple through, and then we have this in the end where we walked the way, and again we just make 6 chain, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we're going to loop, we're going to go with our hook into this end stitch, into this one in the end, just before the knot. You can go through both the blue and the yellow, or just one stitch, whichever is easier for you. I like to go through all, at least 2 of them, like so, and then we pull through the purple all the way, and then we have to cut the tail as long as the other, and then we're going to thread all yarn over with all of the thread and pull it all the way through. It's gonna be a bit tight, so you might need to help with your hand, and there it is. That's your headband is done. You can keep going with more rows if you want. You can leave it like this. I think it's really pretty and easy to make, so kids can make it as well. In case you made a multicolored bracelet like this, when you changed colors, I'm sorry for not having the light at the moment. The light went out. I'm going to show you how to weave in the ends. You can of course do it with a crochet hook, but I find it easier with the thread, with the needle. So it's definitely a work for mommies. You have to thread your needle. And you need to make sure to have a needle which have a big hole, so it's make it easy to thread. And all you have to do is you're going into the stitches, in and out, in and out. I don't know if you can see, just in and out. You go in one direction through the stitches, pull it through, and then to secure it, you go through the other direction where you came from, and you go through the yarn like that, and you pull it back. Make sure not to pull it too tight because it could tighten your bracelet, but this is secure now, so you can just cut it off. And you have to do the same with every single tail end that you have, and then when you sew them all in, you will have your bracelet without any tail ends in it. So I'm happy that you joined me today, and I hope that you liked this video. If you did, please press like button and share it with your friends, and let others know about my tutorials in the Facebook group and on YouTube as well. Just so you know, this training what I did today is brought to you by Roslyn Hill. It's her method of teaching how to crochet for beginners and for kids. So I learned everything from her, how to use the crochet hook, because I used to use a normal hook. And so I just want to say thank you for Roslyn to making this possible, to teach your method in my classes. Don't forget to post your creations in the comments below if you're watching me on Facebook, because I would really like to see what you've been doing so far. And I will see you in the next time. Bye bye.